Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Sovereign's non-meta tournament number 5, VIP qualifier number 3. So I have explained these in the past before, but basically the winner of this gets a round 1 bye in the main event, which is the non-meta tournament number 5. And yeah, so if any of you guys are interested in playing any of these tournaments, go ahead and check the Discord link in the description below. There will be obviously a link in there, and then you can go and check the ban list out and give it a shot yourself. So up at the top today, we have Mr. Manthanon, who was in the previous video, and instead of being on Rika, he is on Dragon Link today. And down at the bottom, we have myself, who is on Paleo Frog. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So looks like we have a lot of ties here, but he is ultimately going to be winning rock paper scissors, and probably going first, obviously, since his deck is pretty crazy. He's playing 60 cards, by the way, so we'll see how well this does. So starting off with a copy of Dragon Ravine, he is going to then use Jackalope to discard a card and get it onto the field. It's really interesting that he actually opted to do that and not send Darkworm out of his hand. I think that probably would have been a better option, just so he could get a free special to the field and then special the Jackalope off of its own effect. But yeah, hitting the triple tactics talent is pretty rough out of his hand in this case. Yeah, Ravine is going to be used here to send Safer to the graveyard. Yeah, I think he definitely could have prioritized this a little bit differently, just so that he could have got the extra body on the field, but we'll see if it affects anything. So Darkworm's going to be banished here for Chaos Valkyrie. He's going to be normal summoning Silver Rocket and overlaying into a copy of Dugares. Dugares is going to be using its effect to draw 2 cards, and the Veiler drops here. So unfortunately, Tactics is not in his hand at this moment, so he just kind of has to pretty much pass here. I mean, he can maybe make a Link to, maybe an IP, but I mean, he doesn't have anything to summon off of it, so I think just leaving the 2 bodies on the field might be the best option here. So we are going to see what he decides to do. So yeah, it looks like he's just going to opt to pass here. I draw for turn, drawing into another copy of Ice Dragon's Prison. It's pretty underwhelming here since he doesn't have a Fiend or a Beast monster in his graveyard, so they don't really do a whole lot here, but they are kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and set a copy of Dupe Frog and set 3 back row and pass my turn over to him. So we'll see what he can do. He draws for turn. Obviously the Dugares doesn't skip the next draw phase, since he never got to the point where he could, you know, draw the 2 cards, so he doesn't skip his next draw phase since that got Veilered. He draws Dragon Matrix for turn. So what's interesting here is he can possibly make like an IP and get a free search. So that's kind of nice. He can like set up an interruption. I don't think it's going to be worth it though, but we can see what he does here. So it looks like he's going to be using Matrix's effect. Oh no, sorry, Ravine's effect, and I'm just going to chain the Dragon Ravine since it discards for cost, and Ravine's out of there, so maybe he can just, it looks like he's just going to pass this turn. Compulse is going to be sending back the Dugares and then chaining Dynamistress, and then at this point I should be able to flip a Dupe Frog, overlay for Toad, and I can just negate anything that he opts to go ahead and summon. So we'll see what he does here. Stand by phase, I use Toad, go ahead and grab a copy of Dupe Frog from deck as well. And yeah, he had Galactic Sprout Dragon in hand, and honestly that is not going to be enough for him to make a good comeback, so it's basically a brick at that point. Obviously, since I figure he's going to be going first, I side in some Lightning Storms so we can see how this game goes. He starts off with Raiden, Hand of Light Sworn to mill 2, and then he is going to go ahead and probably activate this Dragon Ravine, I assume here. We'll see. His hand is a little weird, but we're going to see how it plays. So discarding Dragonhawk, he's going to go ahead and search, or send rather, a copy of Safer to the graveyard. So there he has a light and a dark target, so it looks like he's going to banish both for a copy of Chaos Creator. Then he doesn't really have a whole lot of plays here, but at least dark can get him a search for Dragon Duo. And Hawk is going to be using its effect here to bring back the dark. Then maybe he could just like link these off into an IP, and then on my turn, oh, that's interesting, he actually opted to use the dark as material. So I guess he could banish this Raiden and the like Hawk for this duo, or you just save it for the next turn. I think personally what I would have done is I would have just kept this Chaos Creator, or actually linked it off for the IP, and then I would have kept the Dragon Dark on the field so I could get a search on my opponent's turn. Because this hand is kind of like lackluster. It's like not that good, honestly, but I mean, setting up 1 interruption is at least decent. So let's see what he does here. He's going to summon Dragon Duo. Okay, interesting. And then he's going to use Chaos Creator's effect to obviously bring back the Raiden. I feel like bringing back the Dark there might be better, just so you can link it off with IP. But yeah, and then maybe I don't know. Then he's going to go ahead and use Raiden's effect again to mill 2 more. It looks like it's actually once per turn, so I think we actually just completely missed that altogether. He activated it twice in 1 turn. I don't think it's going to affect anything, but we'll see here. I don't think he can use Raiden's effect twice in the same turn, since it says right here you can only use this effect once per turn. So we probably should have caught that, but we ended up not catching that, obviously. He's going to go ahead and overlay into a copy of Sanafon. So this is going to basically make it so I can't special summon out of the graveyard. It's kind of like a Dweller in rank 8 form, but it's not as good. So he's going to use the effect, which is pretty nice since it's going to lock me out for 2 turns. I'm going to go ahead and activate Lightning Storm. I believe he's just going to chain it here, summon a Unicorn. Doesn't do anything here, but, you know, I baited it out at least. And I'm just going to set 3 back row and call it a turn. So he draws for turn, drawing into a copy of Chaos Valkyrie. So he's going to banish 1 to go ahead and get this Valkyrie effect. And Valkyrie is going to search for Dark is going to search for Thunder Dragon Fusion. Yeah, I think that, honestly, that Raiden probably helped him here a lot, since this Dragon Dark is pretty important, being able to get him into the Thunder Dragon Fusion. I think he could have played into it to make like the Dark be in the graveyard at this point, but like he could have played a little bit better so that the Dark was in the graveyard instead. Instead of like summoning the Raiden, he could have summoned the Dark, and then it would be the same situation. But I don't know. Thunder Dragon Fusion is going to come down here. He's going to go ahead and fuse the Thunder Dragon, Dark, and the Hawk. Unfortunately, yeah, if he probably would have done a little bit different, he probably could have like detached from the Sanafon, but instead of having the other Thunder Dragon, can't speak here. So yeah, it's a bit confusing. I think that Raiden play definitely like put him in a better situation, but Vaylor's going to come down on this copy of Sanafon just so I can special summon on my turn, basically. Just to make sure, I guess, pretty much. Then Titan's going to be attacking here. Dynamis just is going to hit the field, banishing it. And then I can go ahead and use Unicorn's effect, or not use Unicorns, but I'm going to take the damage from Unicorn and Xenophon and the copy of Chaos Valk. So unfortunately for me, these guys are like huge. So I could like Dynamiscus banish something, but if I like bounce back this Valk, it's going to be in his hand, so we can just, you know, banish a card to bring it back on this next turn. So that's like kind of unfortunate. I'd want to hit one of the extra deck cards, but I do need to like draw a Frog here, because if I draw a Frog, which I don't, I draw into the Solemn Judgment, unfortunately, but if I drew a Frog, I could just like use this Compulse bounce something and then bring back the Dynamiscus, which would be nice, but unfortunately I don't. And just having 2 copies of Judgment, this is going to be pretty unfortunate here, because he can just activate Gold Sark. I can negate it, but like if I negate anything, he's just going to go ahead and attack for game here, which I believe is what he's going to do here. So yeah, searching for Chaos Creator, banish, you know, to special, but realistically it's not going to matter, since, you know, I could activate my Solemn Judgment to negate it, but like it just doesn't really matter at this point. I can, you know, try and like chunk block with like Dynamiscus, but realistically like he's just gonna keep attacking over and I'm just gonna lose the game. So it didn't really matter. I kind of could hold off, you know, a little bit, but the Sanafon was still just enough here. So I'm gonna opt to go first this time, and I start off with a copy of Swap Frog, sending Ronin Totem to the grave, add it back to hand, and we're just gonna go ahead and set 3 cards and pass my turn. So he's going to start off with a copy of Feather Duster. I'm going to chain Trap Trick, and then he's going to Red Reboot it. So that's pretty rough, but we're going to see what happens here, because obviously I am playing a really good target for Trap Trick in the form of Waking the Dragon. So since this Feather Duster is going to be resolving correctly, it's just going to go ahead and get rid of all my back row, and then Waking the Dragon's effect is going to trigger here. Unfortunately for me, I do summon the Toad and not like the big Raid Raptor guy, because I figure he can just attack over it with anything that's bigger than 35, which is not that hard for his deck to do. So I figured I just might as well make it Toad, since it is a negate. But realistically, I should have been on the Last Warrior from Another Planet, because then he couldn't be able to summon, and that's like entirely what his hand does. So I definitely could have just won the game right there if I just summoned that Last Warrior from Another Planet, attacked, and then just waited the next turn and attacked for game. So that was definitely a misplay on my, not like a misplay, but like a something that I should have done with my deck building, but I opted not to, unfortunately. So yeah. So his Solitaire is going to get a summon from deck, then he's going to use Unizombie's effect, and I'm going to chain Toad to negate and set it to my field. And he's out of a normal summon here, so we can see what he does. Toad's going to add itself back, because why not? I guess I could add this Roded back and get a free like special out of Swap Frog, but realistically I don't think it's going to matter. Quick Launch is going to get a special for Tracer from deck, Chaos Space, and then he's going to chain Tracer, I believe here. No, he's not chaining Tracer. Oh, he is training Tracer. Okay, there we go. So he's going to get a Wyvern Buster, and then he's going to get into the Chaos Dragon. Milling 5, this is pretty rough, honestly, since he has a lot of resources to work with here. I think adding this Chaos Valk is probably the best option, which is exactly what he's going to do. Then he can go ahead and banish a Dark for the White Dragon Wyvern Buster. And then he should be able to like link these guys off into any link 2 realistically, and then probably get the Chaos Ruler back. But he's also going to go for Chaos Valk, banishing a Matrix to get the Search with Matrix for another one. Then he can link those off into an IP, and then he can use White's effect to add black. Then he has a pretty nice follow-up for the next turn, since his White can search for black right now, or it can search later, honestly, so whichever. Chaos Space getting him a free draw. Allure is just insane to pick up here, I think. He could just blind Allure if he really wants to, but I don't think he needs to. For some reason, he doesn't attack IP over. Maybe he just forgot Unizombie has 0 defense. But he could have missed. He missed like a little bit of damage, which realistically I don't think is a big deal. Then he's just going to go ahead and pass his turn. So I draw for turn, and drawing to Crackdown. I can make like a Toad here, but unfortunately he can make a like Unicorn to shuffle it back. So like it isn't like great. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and use Swap Frog's effect to send another Swap Frog to grave. And then he's going to go ahead and use IP's effect to link off into Unicorn, discard, and shuffle back my Swap Frog. I can chunk block here with the Ronin Totem. I don't think there's a reason to. Unfortunately for me, I don't have like a trap card as well, so I think I just kind of have to set these cards and pass. So, I mean, I have a couple options here with like this Ice Dragon's Prison. I could like bring back the Silver Rocket and banish it, and the Chaos Ruler, which is like decent. There isn't a nice Fiend target in the graveyard, so I can't really get rid of the Unicorn either, but I don't think I really want to get rid of the Unicorn. I could also just Crackdown take the Chaos Ruler, and then he's forced to get something over 3,000 to beat over it, or like out it a different way. So I have a couple options here, but he's going to special White and then use Chaos Space to go ahead and send it back and draw a card. So both Chaos Spaces activated in the same duel. Pretty crazy. Yet he's going to go ahead and link off into a copy of Romulus. I'm actually surprised he didn't go for Phoenix here to like pop back row. But yeah, Romulus is going to hit the board. Ice Dragon's Prison is going to be chained here, so I can go ahead and bring back the Chaos Ruler and banish the Romulus, just so I can get like free materials. I guess I probably should have just waited for him to banish the Light and Dark out of the graveyard, since it is a cost to banish the Light and Dark. So I probably should have just waited for him to banish it, but at the same time, like he could get extra resources by banishing cards. Like he could banish the Matrix and then search it for another one. So if he's on multiple copies of Matrix, that is. So, I mean, it's just an extra resource. But now he has a full hand to work with, which is pretty rough. So he's going to use the Lure to draw 2, and then he's going to go ahead and banish this Black Dragon out of his hand. I don't think he has a need for the dragons at this point anymore. And he's going to go ahead and use Thunder Dragon's effect to go ahead and search for 2 more out of his attack. And then he's going to go ahead and use the copy of Gold Sark, which is like insane still. Being able to banish this Roar and then get a special for Dark is insane, especially since it's Dark can use its own effect. So yeah, it's really good. He can make like a 0 Boros here just to like clear my last back row if he really wanted. I don't think he's playing it, but if he is, that's like still really nice. So we'll see what he does. I think he's just like thinking really a lot here, but banishing Light and Dark out of his grave, he's gonna go ahead and special summon Chaos Creator. I can like still Crackdown, take this biggest monster and survive a turn. But we'll see what I do here. So Chaos Creator is going to go ahead and shuffle to back, bring back the Tracer. Dragon Ravine pitching the Thunder Dragon, sending the copy of Chaos Dragon Legionnaire. And then he can go ahead and maybe he doesn't have a target for this Tracer. Yeah, I don't think he had a target for the Tracer, so I think he has to reactivate the Ravine since the Silver Rocket is banished at this point. But he still has enough damage on board to attack for game, but we'll see what he does. He's going to link off into a Cross Sheep and use the effect of Dark to search for Thunder Dragon Fusion. Fusing 2 Thunder Dragons and a Matrix, he's going to make a Titan. Then he can go ahead and special back this Solitaire with Cross Sheep. Then Thunder Dragon is going to be discarded for Titan. I can chain the Crack down here, otherwise he's just going to chain Titan to pop. So I'll go ahead and steal that, and then he's going to add 2 copies of Thunder Dragon from his deck to his hand, synchroing off into a Chaos Ruler. He can just go ahead and mill 5 again, and honestly, he just has so much resources at this point. Adding a Raiden, why not, you know? Link off into a copy of Nightmare Phoenix. He can pitch this, get the Titan, and at this point it's game, since I have obviously no resources at this point. So yeah, I think it was definitely a misplay on my part, not playing the Last Warrior for Another Planet. That could have definitely won me the game there. I could have definitely had like a huge comeback and just absolutely won off of a single card, but I forgot to play it, so that's definitely my bad. But this is his list that he played, so it's a very interesting list. Obviously he's on like some danger monsters as well, but we'll go through it. So like he's just playing like the 12 cards for the Thunder Engine. Roar is limited due to the ban list, so I mean it makes sense why he's only playing the 1, obviously, but otherwise I think he should definitely be playing 3, especially because it meshes so well with Allure of Darkness. It looks like he is only on the 2 copies of Dragon Matrix, so I probably should have like not been worried about the Chaos Ruler. I don't think it would have really mattered, but I would have, you know, banished at least some resources out of his graveyard. But yeah, and then he's definitely on like the Charge of the Light Brigade into Raiden Engine, just because it's a level 4 tuner. You could special summon like Chaos Valk, or even the little baby dragons, which are like really nice. Being able to synchro with those, get free searches, is also like really good. So I think that this is like something that's really nice as well. The 1 card engine, basically the Shirinu Solitaire into Unizombie into Mizuki. That's a 1 card synchro 8. Unfortunately, you can't attack with zombies that turn you activate the effect. But I don't think that ever came up during our duels, at least. Danger Package, which is really nice. Chaos Creator, which is a Thunder monster, which is pretty cool. You can search it with Thunder Dragon Fusion. And it's just a Chaos monster, you know, level 8. It's literally like perfect. It's just like a really good extender as well, late game. Or even like sometimes like early game as well. Then he's on like obviously the Chaos monsters, so Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, banishing 3 just to like 3 darks to just hand rip is insane. Revolution Dragon to search for Chaos Emperor. What's really nice is this really like works really well with the Chaos Ruler, since while it's in the scale you can destroy it and then target a Synchro Xyz Dragon or Synchro Dragon in your graveyard and special summon it, so it's just a free extender while it's in scale. So basically the idea with this is to search for the Chaos Emperor, and then you can banish it since it's a light for like, you know, one of your Chaos Dragons or for your Chaos Valk. Then you can go ahead and use Chaos Emperor to add it back to your hand, scale it, and then, you know, after you synchro summon, you can just pop it and then just add it back to hand. So there's that, which is really awesome as well. Obviously Chaos Emperor, which is like the best card. I don't know. I think maybe not the best card, but I think this card is just like a really, really fantastic card. Just being a chaos monster that you can summon for your extra deck is like crazy without pendulum summoning it. Like this is like, honestly, I think maybe one of the directions that they're going to take with pendulum monsters going like moving forward is not for being a scale, but for being able to summon itself from the extra deck, which is really nice. Dark Worm, which is as like a normal summon target to search from Revolution Dragon. Zephyros, which is a really nice way to like just bounce your scales back or bounce a danger back, special back from grave. It's kind of interesting. It's like not like super good, but it's an option. It's there. Galactic Spiral Dragon's pretty nice to send off of Ravine sometimes, so it's pretty cool. Obviously, like the baby Chaos Dragon, Safer, Charge of the Light Brigade, Lure, just like generic like draw power pretty much, and like set up with Charge of the Light Brigade especially. Ravine, since you search this with your copy of Romulus. Chaos Space, this card's insane. It's a 1-card Savage Dragon in non-meta tournament. In TCG, I believe it's like 1 card FTK pretty much, but typically you just send a light or dark, search the other ones, link off for Pizzi, search the other one, link off for Romulus, add Ravine, then use Ravine to pitch Absurrouter, or pitch any card and then pitch Absurrouter from deck. Then you can go ahead and search for Tracer, normal Tracer, pop the Ravine, special Silver Rocket, synchro these into a Savage, and then equip the Pitsy back from grave, so you have a 1 negate Savage, which is like okay. It's like decent, just like, you know, Chaos Space is a 1-card Savage Dragon. It's just like worth noting, or at least a 1-card Synchro 8, because you can make the Chaos Ruler. It's worth noting, but he's obviously not on it since he's not playing the Absurrouter, which I think is especially odd, but I think it is worth playing for that specific interaction especially. Gold Sark, this is crazy. Quick launch searching for Tracer or Silver Rocket is pretty good too. It's really interesting that he's only on 1 Tracer. Typically, if you draw like 2 copies of Quick Launch, you can get 3 bodies on the field, since you can special 1 with Quick Launch, activate Quick Launch, chain Tracer, pop Quick Launch, special Silver Rocket, and then special another Tracer, so you'll have 2 Tracer, 1 Silver Rocket. But he's not on that, so that's pretty interesting. I think the side deck is honestly pretty like staples, like the 4 1-ofs, Cosmics, Dark Ruler, Solemn Judgment, and different Dimension Ground, which is, I guess, like a different option than normal. But yeah, moving on into the extra deck keys on Titan, Savage, Chaos Ruler. This card's like the whole point of the deck pretty much. Pitsy, just for the 1-card like engine I said. Obviously he's not on it, but it's still pretty nice just to link off a, you know, white or black dragon, or even your safer sometimes depending on what you need. IP, Phoenix, Unicorn, you know, Hieratic Seals, like these are pretty much all just like generic stuff that you need for Dragon Link. Cross Sheep is a little bit of a different option. I don't think it's like especially good, but it proved like some worth in this, so I think it's like decent. I definitely would play other cards over this, maybe a different rank 8, or I don't know, maybe a different like Link 4, maybe like Topologic Zeroboros I think would probably be better, or even Trisbane. Dugaris, which is pretty good as a rank 4. He's playing a lot of level 4s, so I figure he might as well fit in some rank 4s in his list. And then for rank 8s, he's on Hope Harbinger, Xenophond, and Dingirsu. Unfortunately, the Hope Harbinger conflicts pretty badly with Tracer, as does like Dweller, Dugares, Cross Sheep, Romulus, Spheres, you know, and then Phoenix. I think everything else is pretty much fine. Titan also conflicts with it, but he's on like still a good majority of dark monsters, so he can still end on like Xenophond if he really wants like a form of negation. But that's gonna do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and I guess like you'll see this list in action in the actual non-meta tournament, so stay tuned for that. I think this list is actually really powerful. It does need a little bit more of an optimization. I think this is like basically the first draft, but I mean, he still won the tournament with it. He still gets a round 1 bye, so it's at least definitely worth considering for the tournament. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and we'll see you guys hopefully in the Discord.